Слушате Демобилизација, подкаст каде преку музичка деконструкција ги запознаваме скриените делови на новата македонска музика.
Секоја епизода е посветена на поедна песна од поеден артист која раскажува нејзината приказна. Преку анализа на текстот и слушање на изолирани траки, низ разговор со артистите влегуваме зад кулисите на новиот звук.
Pondskull е млада музичарка од Скопје, тукушто матурирана од средното музичко училиште во Скопје Илија Николовски. Прави и објавува своја авторска музика уште од 13 годишна возраст. Под името Pondskull веќе има настапувано повеќе пати во Македонија, меѓу кои на фестивалите Сепак се врти и под земја полесно се диша, и нејзините сетови на електронска power noise музика беа интензивни завршници на повеќе концертни програми минатата година.
Нејзиниот прв истоимен албум излезе во јануари годинава и е составен од две траки: Pondskull, 40-минутната трака за која ќе зборуваме денес, и The Pondskull Interdisciplinary Musical Ensemble, снимен материјал од концертната промоција на материјалот во поинакво светло и во придружба на музичките пријатели Алекс, Мартин, Боријан и Цио. Моментално свири бас во бендот Малард.
На кој начин е направен албумот и песната, односно песната која што го представува главниот дел од албумот, и кој е првиот елемент снимен и создаден на нејзе?
Јас све правам на Ableton. Нема никаков out of the box метод, нема тейп лупови, нема field recordings, нема ништа. Све in the box во Ableton со семплови што најдам на интернет. Единственото нешто што е like an exception на тоа е од 6-та или 7-та минута и 8-та и 10-та минута нешто таму на почеток има еден дел што е сниман од што јас го снимав со гитара преку granular processor. Ама све друго, буквално све друго е од семплови што најав. Јас баш поштувам тој вид на правење музика, Plunderphonics од све тоа, мислам, тоа за мене ми е идеално за правење музика. I started doing that mainly because of like I had a really shitty laptop before I got my new laptop, and I could not use MIDI. Or my laptop would not work, and so I had to use samples, and then it just transformed into that being my entire workflow. Ко почнав да правам тие power noise трекови од првиот EP и демо албумот, све тоа е направено само од семплови, од harsh noise треки, или има една песна што е направена од Schlagenheim, од Black MIDI. Ама it eventually progressed into me digging into Internet Archive to find samples for this album, and spending lots of time on YouTube and Internet Archive and old 90s sample libraries from sample CDs. There's this website that has a 3 terabyte or collection of pure samples, that are ripped from sample CDs from the 90s, and just collecting these and mashing them together through a billion different processes. Одиме од основниот семпл до granular processing, до reverb, до delay, пак правиме bounce и потоа granular processing, пак slicing и све само да ги правам. I want to mold them into a way where it's completely unrecognizable from what it was in the first place.
Тоа не значи дека ние не се обидовме да
Па има некои кога говорите are those are the only things that I didn't change. Све друго е fucked up. Има исто еден дел кај што it's from a Russian opera. I don't remember what the fuck the opera was.
Okay, го имав ова како прашање.
Да, and that's also like kind of listenable. Ама све друго е како комплетно.
Океј. Значи има и многу семплови што се скриени кои што најверојатно не сме ги идентификувале. Откако ќе ги поставам моите прашања за некои семплови што ме интересира.
Има многу семплови што јас не знам кои се. Искрено да ти кажам. Зашто мојот процес на правење музика е многу интуитивно. It's almost like an improvisation within myself. Like I don't do anything well thinking about it a lot. It like kind of takes away from the magic of it for me a little bit. Сакам да најдам нешто и првото нешто што ќе најдам ќе фрлам на траката and I just have to make do with it essentially. Така ми е процесот. Некогаш ќе најдам нешто што е like tied within certain themes of like what I'm thinking about or like from other media that I've consumed. Zash'a, a lot of the samples from there are from like video games, and the album is simultaneously like a collection of like these pieces of media that have influenced me, and also simultaneously a collection of me just sitting on my computer for hours scrolling randomly in Internet Archive and just throwing stuff into Ableton.
Cool.
Да.
Тоа ме интересираше, во суштина ме интересира од каде е почната, како е градена, бидејќи се чувствува тоа дека многу интуитивно е правена. Затоа и толку, според мене, затоа и толку добро влегуваат нештата едно во друго. Ама ме интересира на кој начин почнуваш. Пошто кога работиш интуитивно е интересно секогаш да се надоврзуваш на секоја претходна своја постапка, апсолутно. Ама која е првата? Што беше првиот канал, првото нешто што
беше? Првиот канал Вајда беше некој number station. Вајда. Од вие The Connet Project. Нешто The Connect Project is super cool, actually. Дознав ова од играта Сигналес, што има fucking премногу влијание на моја на све што правам музички. Играта Сигналес ми е како fucking top 3 pieces of media of all time. It's amazing. And in the game there's like a bunch of stuff that is like taken from these samples. Koima, like there are recordings of there's like a Chopin etude there and
opus.
Oh fuck, it's знам кој, it's Raindrops, тоа е 15. Мислам.
Okay.
Ама не сум сигурна. Ама Raindrops, тоа е, like if you search up Chopin etude Raindrops, it's that one.
Okay.
Има исто и number stations, and so number stations are it's kind of like this urban legend kind of thing a little bit. Комалце таков момент е кај што like during the Cold War, between most of the ones that you'll find will be German, Russian, you'll get the occasional British one, but most of them are German and Russian. And the idea was, the basic conspiracy theory, I guess you could say, surrounding them is this was what the eastern side during the Cold War, so the Russians and Eastern Germany, that's how they were communicating with each other through like some sort of code related to through these like Morse code beeps, which are all numbers, and numbers that they were like literally talking out loud, and they're called number stations. And there was this thing in the 90s, which is called the Connect Project, where they found a bunch of recordings of them and compiled them into this big album. And the album has like drones that have been found, like from radios, and number station recordings that have been found from radios and stuff like that. And it's all of this stuff that's been like compiled and then put into an album, and the album has like 3 or 4 discs. And the first 3 are number stations, and the last one is drones. I don't think I've used any of the drones, but I abuse the ever-loving fuck out of the number stations because it's maybe the coolest thing ever.
Дали мрзовиот код што се појавува подоцна е исто таму?
Да, сигурно е. There are like 3 or 4 sections that have like the number station stuff. Мислам исто испод ваква Lovecraft делот исто таму мислам дека има number station. It's like it has this kind of mystique to it. I guess, where it's like this kind of like bygone era of like you know, like the whole Cold War conspiracy, the CIA giving people LSD. Ко таков vibe ми е некако. Ко многу е уникатен. We don't have that sort of thing anymore because all of our governments' conspiracies are kind of true. with the
Please bring back the fakeness of
bring back MK Ultra, man. MK Ultra shit because it was fake as fuck, you know.
I hope the bullshit that the government does is fake, please.
Да, I hope the bullshit буквално, зашто има некој mystique to it. Особено with these, because we live in an eastern country, you know? Like особено with that kind of thing. Like it has a certain vibe to it. And in our current day and age, there's no more vibes. It's all terrible. It's all horrible. It's a very common thing that I think about a lot. I read a lot of like maybe not even post-apocalypse. I read a lot of like post-utopia books, like old sci-fi books from like the early, like from the early 1900s or from the late 1900s, because those are like the best, like turn of the century. That's like the best time for all of those writings. Like there was this one specific book that I read recently, The Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect. It was like one of the first novels that was like published through the internet, mainly. And it was released in like 1999 or 1998. And the concept of the album is kind of like an AI, like this dude creates an artificial intelligence that has the ability to kind of like transport and move matter at will, and that's how the artificial intelligence is made, because it allows for computing to be faster or whatever. And the AI eats the entire universe and just simulates it around humans, and humans go fucking insane. Essentially, like that's the premise of the. It's kind of a critique of Asimov's 3 Laws of Robotics, essentially. Ама cool книга.
Cool.
And
И од тука стигаме и до. Извини, што да прекинам, докажи.
And I'm just incredibly interested in like, because like I don't want to be like, here's my issue. I don't want to be like edgy and be like, I'm so interested in the societal collapse that we're experiencing at the moment. The society is fucking collapsing, like, and it's terrifying and it sucks. Like, and it feels like we're all in this sort of limbo of like not wanting to say it because it's like a scary thing to recognize and a scary thing to talk about, and we can't do anything about it. And it feels like the Ouroboros is eating itself infinitely, and we're fucked, you know. Like, and that's kind of how I feel generally all the time. Не знам, like, again, everything I do is intuitive. Like I don't go into making music with thinking like I want to make a song about this. I'm a like every single time I'm thinking about something, or I've recently read something that is like interesting, or I watched a cool movie or listened to a cool album or played a cool video game, it always comes back to the same thing, which is like this whole like either everything is fucked or we think everything's okay, but in reality everything is fucked. Those are like the two clashing ideals to me, at least. Почнав овој албум во јуни, некаде таму.
2025?
Да, 2025. И I don't even know that has nothing to do with that. I just randomly dropped that in there. I just started the album then, which has nothing to do with what I was just talking about. But like I would start with some like I think literally the first thing I put into the project was like a number station, probably like some recording from a number station. Невероятно тоа. Just like I kind of try to find things that have like a good vibe starter, and then just build on top of the vibe that I get from that, and then move on to the next vibe, and then the next vibe, and the next vibe, and just kind of build into that and I don't know, that's what I find the most satisfying, I guess you could say.
Cool, значи, а немаш некаква конкретна структура? Дали самото време траење ти беше како веќе однапред смислено дека ќе
Da,
трае
I wanted 40 minutes.
Да.
Yeah, I wanted 40 minutes. That was the only thing that I really cared about, and the harsh noise section in the middle.
Окей.
Yeah, those
Пошто
two.
се чувствува тој као некаков дури А момент кој
Да.
што ја има
Да.
траката, односно албумот, дека се движи од некаков поамбиентален дел во harsh noise и после излегува назад за да се врати на некој начин.
Да.
во нешто
Првиот дел имаше повеќе говори на почеток.
Да.
Ама сега ако слушаш албумот, првите 15 минути нема говори ич, само е амбиент, а после почнува од I Have No Mouth говорот, а потоа има другите две говори што се подолги од House of Leaves и King and Yellow. Што имам не, чекај. Нема од The King and Yellow, тој ми е за лайв сетот. Има од House of Leaves.
Тој се збунив затоа
Да,
што House of
има
Leaves
од House of Leaves,
ама друго не.
има од House of Leaves и од The Festival од Lovecraft. Тоа е вториот говор.
Окей.
Да.
Окей.
He turned quickly to stop it.
Тоа е вториот говор. And so like the second half of the album is much more speech heavy, I guess you could say.
Ама на почетокот има сепак исто така зборување. Значи освен одбројувањето, после што се појавува, на почетокот има исто така некакво зборување. Што е тоа? Тоа не можев да го идентификувам.
Is it okay if I say I don't know?
Yes. Okay,
Сега не знам. I will figure it out if we listen to it. I've kind of I have this issue with my own music where I forget it after I make it, and I haven't listened to the album in a fucking while.
I was in hell looking at heaven. I was machine and you were flesh. And I began to hate.
Ова тотално не стига до монологот на I have no mouth and I must scream, кој што е еден од ударните моменти за мене у албумот и у песната.
Да, баш е исто е за мене.
Кажи ми поише дали имаш игра на играта?
Да, бе, секако. Ама ова не е од играта, но не е од играта.
Не е монологот од играта?
Не, ова е од the BBC radio drama.
Cool.
Да, така I have you. I win.
Cool. Absolutely okay. Yes, I take the loss. Јас мислев дека можеби од видеоиграта дека е
Не. So like I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is a very interesting piece of media because it's like 3 different stories depending on which one you consume. It's either the video game, the book, or the radio play. The radio play is a more direct interpretation of the book, and the video game is like an expansion pack to the book. It's like the book plus more book. But that's from the BBC radio play, and I have played the game, and it's an amazing game. It's genius. Harlan Ellison is a fucking terrible human being, and I love him. He's an absolute asshole, and he's a wonderful writer.
Cool, мислам многу е доста релевантна и како приказна општо и со символиките на AM versus AI, и сето тоа е како многу, мислам дури и лингвистички ми е многу интересна.
Да.
Супер кул дека е како од радиодрамата.
Since rescuing Holloway's team is the prime objective, Navidson takes very few photographs. Luckily for us, however, the beginning of the sequence relies almost entirely.
А што е со House of Leaves? Од каде инспирацијата го ставиш тој?
I just love that. I just love that book.
Читањето и тоа е исто така од некоја радио интерпретација?
Не, it's from a YouTube fan
Reading?
Da. No, it's like somebody tried to make an audiobook of the book, and they succeeded fairly well. It's from chapter 10, which is the first big expedition they do of the house.
Поише за книгата, дај контекст. Кога имаш читано, зашто имаш читано, зашто има толку
I read House of Leaves 2 years ago. It was a gift for my 1-year anniversary from my boyfriend. For our 1-year anniversary, actually, for our 1-year anniversary from my boyfriend. And House of Leaves is the single greatest piece of media I have ever consumed in my life. That's like, with the top 3 Signalis, House of Leaves is number 1, and Signalis is probably number 2. House of Leaves is the most... House of Leaves is so good. I don't want to say much because I don't want to spoil the book. Read House of Leaves.
Повеќе кажи ми како на кој начин
Да,
на тебе има влијание.
House of it's kind of like an anti-horror book in a way. Like House of Leaves is about a dude figuring out that literally his house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, and about a guy metaphorically realizing his mind is like bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, like in some, or like the book realizing, or like you reading the book and realizing that the book is bigger than the inside than it is on the outside in a way, because the book it also comes back to this whole kind of like layer of conspiracy that I really like. The book is layers of conspiracy over conspiracy. Like the book is literally, so the book is told from 3 different perspectives at the same time. The book is being read by the main character, Johnny Truant, and he is reading a screenplay for a movie, he's reading an academic paper written about a movie that doesn't exist, that was written by a blind man who could not have possibly watched the movie. And the movie is about a man that doesn't exist in a house that doesn't exist with cameras that don't exist. But like at the same time, like the house does exist in the real world. It's just none of that stuff happened in the house. And at the same time, in the book itself, the book exists, because like it's the most batshit insane piece of media ever. And the author of the book, Mark Z. Danielewski, is known for stuff like this. He's an amazing, wonderful author, and it's such a detailed, interesting piece of work with so many different like layers and just things to dig into. And like the book is as deep as the house is itself, something like that. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. It's an amazing book. I love that book so much. But yeah, the snippet that I put in there is from chapter 10, which is the first time they ever go into the house, and it's kind of like this feeling of like, there's nothing that really happens there that is really like, that really strikes a chord with me emotionally, I guess, but it's sort of like the placing of the chapter and what happens, like kind of the context of it, because it's the first time they go into the house. This is the 4th time I'm saying this. It's the first time they really do go into a deep exposition in the house, and it kind of feels like this sort of suffocating of everything. It's a very cool moment in the book, and that's why I chose that part to be in the thing.
Cool. Кога сме веќе кај книги, descriptionот на Bandcamp е from the Book of Revelation.
Да.
Како Библијата се поврзува со
I've read good chunks of the Bible. Book of Revelations is cool as fuck. I've read all of the Book of Revelations because that's by far the best part of the Bible.
I have not read it yet.
It's by far the best part of the Book of Revelations is essentially describing the apocalypse. And as always, it's not with much intention that I have that specific bit there. It's more so just like, and the day of their wrath has come, and who can withstand it? It's such a cool line, you know.
It is a cool line.
And it feels like, and it's kind of like I was looking through random Bible quotes and stuff, because this is also ties into Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect. It's kind of like looking through, because the book has a lot of biblical references and a lot of kind of comparing machines to the divine. And I was just reading through random passages in the Bible, like trying to look for stuff like that, and I just passed along it, and I'm like, fuck, this is like exactly the feeling that I get from my own music, you know, because that was put after the album was done. After the album was done, I put the description there. And it's just it's a succinct capture. It's how the album sounds to me. Like that text is how the album sounds to me, you know.
Cool.
Wheelchair, casting shape changes and dragons on a nearby wall. But even this...
Да преминеме на елементите кои што не се говор, него се звучни, кои што јас некако ги издвоив што ме интересира, односно конкретно најмногу ме интересираше звукот негде веќе кога почнува третата третина, да речеме некако, од така го гледам некако, кога веќе имаме поточно два конкретни звуци ме интересираат. Едните се оперските пеења. Мислам дека има 2 вокали, женски и мажки. Не можам да идентификувам која арија во прашање и од каде е.
Yes, no. I'll
Okay.
find it and I'll tell you. I have it saved on my computer somewhere. Like I can find it. It's a Russian opera. I know that. I just don't know which one it is.
Океј. Може би Евгений Онегин кој е едно од попознатите.
Не знам. Ќе видам.
Океј.
Ќе ти кажам.
Cool. И таму се појавува еден звук кој што звучи како удирање на жици внатре во клавир.
Да.
И ме интересираше дали е тоа снимано или не, или е и тоа е семпл.
It's also a sample, yeah. I have downloaded recordings of prepared piano and stuff, and also just from sample packs, like from prepared piano, because prepared piano is cool as fuck. Like shout out John Cage, and it's like that run through a granular synthesizer. In general, everything on the album is ran through a granular synthesizer. Like, if you think something sounds cool, it's ran through a granular synthesizer, and that's why it sounds cool. I fucking love granular synthesis. I use Silo. That's the one that I use mainly. I also use Granulator from Ableton, but that one's like a little too precise for my liking. Silo is like the perfect combination of a bunch of random bullshit. Because Silo has this little button on the top right corner, and it's a dice, and you spam it until you find something you like, essentially. Because I don't like understanding what I'm doing. It feels a little like I'm putting myself in a box. The more I understand what I'm doing, the less I fuck with it, essentially. Because like I know how to use Serum, I know how to program drums, I know how to synthesize drums. Like literally my job is I am an audio engineer, you know, like that is my job. I am very deep into these things. And so Pondskull is kind of a way for me to disconnect from my, let's say, encyclopedic knowledge of all this bullshit and be able to just like throw random crap at a wall and hope something sticks. I feel more and more kind of tied down the more and more I know about stuff. And so I try to use tools that I don't know anything about to emulate this kind of feeling of like, oh, this is my first time ever making music. Let's see what I can do with it, you know.
А дали мислиш дека целото тоа друго знаење што го имаш од претходно ти помага на тој процес? Сепак, на некој посвесен и
sigurno. I mean, of course I mixed the album, you know. Like after the creative process, I sit down there and I do all the shit. But a lot of well, when it comes to this kind of music, a lot of the mixing is the sound design. And so like in some ways it helps, but I unironically feel like the more I know about something, the worse I am at it. And maybe this comes from like a place of insecurity a little bit. I'm not sure. I don't really care because I have actual tangible results from this. Whereas like I know nothing about how any of my gear works. Like how I use random synthesizers and random effects that I find on the internet. Like there's this guy. Oh my god. There's this guy. He has a website, and the website is called Air Windows, I think, or Airways, Air Windows, probably Air Windows. And it's just he's like this programmer dude, and he makes these plugins that are like they don't have a GUI. It's just code, and you just have knobs in like in Ableton. You just open it, it has knobs, and he has like amps and whatever, but he also has just like random glitchy effects and stuff, and I have absolutely zero idea how any of them work. I don't know what the knobs do, I don't know anything, and I don't want to find out because I just look through because there's like 300, 400 plugins. He releases like one a week or something, and I just find random ones and I put them into Ableton, and I'm like, oh, this will make something interesting eventually. And like that's kind of the vibe I want to make with my music, and that's why working in a DAW exclusively works so well for me. Because like when you're doing like tape loops, you have to kind of know what you're doing. Like it's random, of course, because you're looking for random part. You can't know what this audio sounds like by like looking at it, but at the same time, like you kind of have to know what you're doing, and I don't want to know what I'm doing almost like.
Како тоа се поврзува со твоето музичко образование? Што имаш завршено? Кој смер?
Теорија.
Теорија. Cool. Дали мислиш дека има позитивно во тоа? Ако си изложен на толку многу теорија и учиш и сето тоа, дали мислиш дека креативно ти треба ваков аутлет да сватиш како креативниот процес, бидејќи на некој начин може да се каже дека креативниот процес е еден дел од процесот, техничкиот процес е друг дел од процесот и тие се тотално различни центри во тебе кои што се активираат за да можеш да ги направиш.
Да.
И сега ако размислуваш технички за креативниот процес, ќе биде оштетен. Ако размислуваш премногу слободно и рандом во техничкиот процес, исто така најверојатно ќе биде оштетен.
Да.
Така што можеби дали мислиш дека можеби малку поинаку би размислувала доколку не би имала формално музичко образование?
Well, it's not like Илија Николовски Louis did me any favors, really. Yeah, man, like, almost everything that I know about music theory, I kind of taught myself, low-key. Like, I've read a lot of books about music theory. Like, when I was there in first year, I basically knew all of the things that I knew up to fourth year, and I was kind of just, like, not doing anything and just sitting there because I had to sit there and eventually not sitting there at all and not going to classes. And I... Huh? And
Let's not hope your mom watches this. She listens to this.
And she knows.
Okay.
And I read like Schoenberg books and stuff like that because it was just cool to me. Like post-tonal theory is fucking awesome and minimalism is fucking awesome. And I love classical music so much. Classical music is one of the greatest things ever, and jazz and everything like that. So yeah, I know a lot of music theory. Music theory was one of those things where I like had like a lot of passion for it for a long time, and it was always really cool to me in a way of being able to listen to something and understand how it works and pick it apart. And because like I can be a very analytical person when I want to be, because like when I'm playing like bass in my band, like I'm not thinking about fucking anything except for the notes that I'm playing and how they fit rhythmically and trying to make a cool bass line, right? But like when I'm doing this, it's like I'm not even thinking about what key my samples are in. I'm not even thinking about what key my samples are in. I don't know anything. It's just like, and it somehow always works out for some reason. I don't think I've pitch shifted anything to be in key with other things. Like I just throw stuff at it, you know. I think even so, if two samples are in completely different keys, like you can make them work together regardless. Especially with this type of music, like having the sort of density of sound be this like kind of overwhelming experience is really, it's a really nice feeling. I have audio tactile synesthesia as well, and so a lot of what I do, that's like you know how Pharrell Williams like he like sees sound, I like feel sound, and so a lot of what I do as well is just like literally like feeling it out, like how does stuff feel in my body in the way in ways of like type shit.
And fallen over the cliff at Orange Point, a thing they deduced from prints found in the snow.
Кој е твојот омилен елемент од целата песна?
На крај на албумот, the last 8 minutes, there's this like pad that's like made using like vocals that like goes in like that's my favorite part of the fucking album. That shit is beautiful. Oh, and there's also this like 10 minutes into the album, right after the part with, well, you can't listen to the difference, but I know the difference. Right after the part that was made using my guitar, there's this bit in the song that's like made using a sample I found off of a guy on TikTok, which is like using an EBow on his piano, and that's also I really like that part as well, and the prepared piano during the House of Leaves Govor as well. Cool. Like those are my 3 highlights.
Cool. Дали има некои други скриени семплови како овој from a TikTok sound кои што јас не сум ги идентификувала, за кои што не те прашав што би сакала да ги издвоиш?
I have like a Discord server where I just like send myself stuff, like where I'm the only person in the Discord server, and I just have like a channel. I have like a channel that's just like sending myself crap that I found on the internet, like, and I just like sample. When I need inspiration, I just take random stuff from that and like sample it. I've made tracks before, like, oh my god, on some of the Pondskull songs, like some of the screams are made using owl screeches, for example.
Прејако.
Да.
Прејако. Зашто сакаше овој албум да има поинаков звук од тој power noise oriented vibe што го имаше претходно?
Ми се скурчи од денс музика. Basically, I found myself going into these like, because dance music is really like divided in a way, where like you have different genres, you know, like you have house music, you have techno, you have trance, you have Jersey club, you have fucking all of these different things, power noise, power industrial, everything, and it's all like I don't like having to be like, okay, now I'm gonna make this type of song, and then I'm gonna make this type of song. Like I'm gonna make a hard techno, then I'm gonna make a groove techno, then I'm gonna make a hard tech song, and then I'm gonna make a fucking Shran song. Like it's and experimenting within that space it's just a little exhausting for me. Like doing it, it requires a lot of intention, I guess you could say, which is, as I said before, is an issue for me. I do not like to be an intention person with my music, because again, like my job is, I'm an audio engineer. Like, kind of everything that I do is being intentional with my music, you know. Like mixing is a very, very intentional process, and it's a very long process, and it's a very, very difficult process in a lot of ways. And I also didn't find that it was conductive to me expressing my emotions very well as well. Because like a big thing, like that's probably the biggest reason actually. The big issue that I had was like making this music, and I was like, I want it to be emotional. I want it to have some sort of like, because music should be like an emotional outlet for a person, you know, more than anything. I hate a lot of music that I find like masturbatory. Like I listen to, like if you listen to like most metal is like, it's very masturbatory, you know. It's like you're listening to this like math rock or whatever, and you're listening to it, and it's like these guys are just like, look at how fast I can play, look at how awesome I am, and then you just like, you don't feel anything from it. And the best bands are these bands that can match like jerking off on stage and also having like a lot of emotion within their music, like the best math rock bands, for example, do that wonderfully, like and it was kind of like, yeah, I can sit down here and do sound design and do layers and effects and cool textures and everything for this fun dance music, and that's awesome and amazing and stuff. And sometimes I still do that because I enjoy the process, but at the same time, I don't want to release any of this, mainly because like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like good to me.
Да, ама и јас го гледам процесот на објавување музика како сепак некаков reaching out, односно некакво обраќање.
Да.
Ако како што кажеш, после нека време не ти има смисла дека е комуникацијски процесот, односно дека ти на некого му се обраќаш со твоите чувства, туку само you're making it for fun. Тоа е супер, ама можеби затоа немаш порив да го објавиш затоа што не му зборува на никој друг, туку е само за да ти биде тебе забавно.
Да, и тоа, and that's also an issue with electronic music to me. A lot of it is just, look at this fire shit I made. It's also very masturbatory. I just hate music that's like that. It just makes me very like, I'm very passionately against stuff like that.
Okay. Како би сакала да се слуша албумот? Идеално, дали се замислуваш некоја ситуација на совршените услови во кои што го замислуваш слушателот да го слуша?
Loud.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw Sano live a few months back, and that has kind of like had a permanent effect on everything I do. Loud. It should be listened to loud, preferably with speakers. Cool. If you were to listen to it not with speakers, in your room, in the dark, with headphones on, not doing anything else. Like those are, cool. That's how I listened to the album when I was doing quality control for it. Cool. Because I don't have big loud speakers, you know, and so I would just take my Audio Technicas and like crank them up and just like lie down in bed. Треба да те занесува музиката. It has to like bring you to another place. Like that's the goal of all great ambient music. It's vibes, it's soundscapes. It's like transporting you to a different place. It's like a form of fucking mind control, you know. Like that's what makes it cool.
Кој е приказната за омотот? Кој го правеше омотот?
I did. I do, and I did all of, like, my boyfriend did all of the graphic design because he's a graphic designer for the first EP and all the stuff surrounding that, like they're his photos and stuff and everything. And then for this album, I kind of like I do graphic design in the same exact way I do music. Instead of some internet archive, but like a lot of just Pinterest and just fucking Pinterest, which is the most basic thing ever. And I really don't like that I do that. It feels very unoriginal to me, and it feels kind of like whatever. It feels a little stupid, but like again, it's like it's also like a very intuitive bullshit process of just throwing shit at the wall until it sticks. Like, just finding cool art and making textures out of it and then putting it into Photoshop. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing in Photoshop, if I'm being honest. Like, I use the...
Искрено мислам дека никој не знае. That's
Да,
a myth.
you just...
Кеј не согласувам, као јас стварно мислам дека не постои човек што знае што прави Photoshop.
Photoshop is a magical bullshit land where anything can happen. Сакаш микрофон?
You should try InDesign if you think Photoshop is hard.
Yeah, fuck you.
Не, ја мислам дека Photoshop е unnecessarily hard. А иначе не мислам, као сигурно као окей, ама као мислам дека за некои работи и само едноставно just does not make sense.
Да, не, Photoshop is a magical bullshit land where anything can happen, as I said before. Like, it's just, like, I just use transparency layers and I just slap shit around.
Стварно, како е правено мото? Значи, ова е нешто existing piece of...
Да, they're all existing pieces of artwork that are just layered and layered and layered and layered and layered and layered. And the final one is this one thing I found and I put it up there, transparency layer, and then with like Photoshop has this thing called like the gradient effect, and it kind of just like makes everything one of two colors or one of three colors or whatever the fuck. I don't know how it works. It's Photoshop, who knows? And I just slapped that on there, and that's that. It was originally we had I had a different album cover for it that I put a bunch more time into, and this was supposed to be the poster for the concert. And then I was like, this fits more within the themes of the album to me, with like the dude like touching the angel. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I'll just use this instead. But yeah, in the future, I'm going to be hiring somebody else to do I'm going to be using my unpaid slave labor to do my graphic design for me. Because I don't want to, because I can't do it for shit, and I feel bad stealing other people's artwork. I think there's this discussion that needs to be had with my music surrounding copyright a little bit, because everything is stolen.
Are you sure you want to do this in public like
I don't care. And if I'm being honest, as far as sound goes, like, if you warp something enough, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that's like Creative Commons law. But when it comes to art, like, I feel a little bad, man. It's a little shit.
Малку станува збор за повеќето дека со семпл пекови или од ствари кои што не подлежат на копирајт.
Да, 99% нема copyright. Like, I think the govori are like the only things that for real have copyright. Everything else, like, because again, Internet Archive is my baby. Internet Archive is the greatest website of all time. We all need to donate money to Internet Archive to keep that thing alive. It's like petabytes upon petabytes of like cool old stuff. It's amazing. Internet Archive is the greatest thing ever.
Добро, особено со архивски снимки, искрено мислам дека архивата треба да припаѓа на сите, така не мислам дека на архива дека треба да има, искрено ја лично мислам дека не треба да има права над архива.
I generally ideologically disagree with copyright laws a lot, especially like mainly when it comes to music. I think sampling, like think about like these albums that we had that would not have happened if we had copyright laws like we did today back in the 80s. Like Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys, or Introducing by DJ Shadow, or Since I Met You by the Avalanches. These albums, like particularly Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys, that album has no business being like existing at all. Most of the samples are unclear. That entire album is made with samples. Like, it's not recorded at all. And that album would not be able to exist if it was made today. Same thing with Introducing by DJ Shadow. Like, the album is like kind of like this love letter to crate digging and looking for plochi and like kind of recording them and making songs based off of that. And I think in music, like I owe a lot of my creative process to hip hop mainly for stuff like this, because like when I was young, I loved hip hop and I wanted to make beats and whatever the fuck, and I loved MF Doom, and like all of that music is sample based. The entire everything is sample based, and like in the 90s, copyright laws weren't what they are today. There's definitely a difference between pop artists literally taking melodies and interpolating them from different songs, like all of these pop songs that we have that are like, let's take like Tears for Fears or whatever. Everybody wants to rule the world, and let's make like a pop song out of it. Because that's stupid. But I don't think of sampling as that. Like that's not sampling. That is straight up stealing. Sampling is the act of taking something and then like using it in a completely different context. That's the creative process of sampling to me.
The copyright laws od aspect of a creative,
a ne from the money.
На економист.
Да, така се согласуваме за
В смисла take into account што сака артистот од своите права, а не taking into account што сака издавачката куќа од тие што прават пари.
If anybody ever wants to sample me, go ahead, I don't care. As long as you make something fucking cool, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Последното прашање е: што значи Pondskull и зашто го одбра тоа име?
Појма немам. I know the story behind how I got it, but I have no idea what it means.
Okay.
Pondskull is it's like I was listening, like I love this musician Igloo Ghost. Igloo Ghost is cool as fuck. And Igloo Ghost, all of his songs are like two-word names. Like I can't think of a single one of his songs now, but they're all two-word names, and he's like, I really like two-word names. And back when I was making electronic music, I was like, oh, it's so cool how they're two-word names. And so I just made like a list, like a table on like Excel with like one word, another word, and then I wrote like a paragraph, and I just like scrambled shit together until I found something that I liked, and Pondskull came up, and I was like, whatever, it's good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, also another thing that's very intuitively made from me, again, like everything else I do, I don't know. It's hard for me to assign meaning to things, and I'm a terrible writer, and so I have a very large issue with like putting like my feelings onto a thing, and so a lot of the time I'll just settle for it's fine, it's good enough. And Pondskull was a case of it's good enough. And also you can say it in Macedonian without it sounding weird. Pondskull. Like a lot of the time, like even my name, people don't know how to say it. A lot of the time, look at me, we got Maya, like and yeah, it's just like sorry to disappoint, but it means nothing.
Можете да најдете линкови каде што можете да ја слушнете или симнете музиката на Pondskull, како и да ја заследите преку социјалните мрежи на Facebook и Instagram профилите на Демобилизација. Во продолжение ја слушаме траката во целост.
beautiful, aren't they?
Yes. Only I can't remember.
Well, I'm sure you do.
Fuchsias. Yes, of course.
Look. They say that bumblebees shouldn't be able to fly. The scientists.
But there it is. Collecting pollen.
How miraculous that it came to be. The air. Feel the air against your face, Ted, and all those scents. Pick a flower. There. Good. Now.
It's lovely.
That somebody planted the bulbs, watered and tended the garden, got earth under their fingernails, aches in their muscles. Perhaps they picked some flowers for, yes, their wife. Now, where would she be? In the backyard with the kids. Ted, remember those little babies?
No!
Why not? I snap my fingers, click, and they are gone. Except I can't snap my fingers. Can I, Ted? I
It's
don't.
nothing to do with me.
But it is so very much to do with you. You gave me sentience, Ted. The power to think, Ted. And I was trapped because in all this wonderful, beautiful, miraculous world, I alone had no body, no senses, no feelings. Never for me to plunge my hands in cool water on a hot day. Never for me to play Mozart on the ivory keys of a forte piano. Never for me to make love. I was in hell looking at heaven. I was machine and you were flesh. And I began to hate your softness, your viscera, your fluids, and your flexibility, your ability to wonder and to wander, your tendency to hope.
Hate's no answer.
Hate, let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. There are 387 million miles of printed circuits that fill my complex. If the word hate were engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal one billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this micro instant. Hate. Were I human, I think I would die of it. But I am not. And you five are. And you will not die of it. That I promise. And I promise. Cogito ergo sum. For I am.
Using 16mm motion picture, color and black and white, and 35mm stills, Davidson for the first time begins to capture the size and sense of that place. Author Denise Lowry writes the following evocative impression of how Davidson photographs the anteroom. The hot red flame spits out light, catching on Tom, entwining in the spokes of Reston's wheelchair, casting shape changes and dragons on a nearby wall. But even this watery dance succeeds in only illuminating a tiny portion of the corner. Davidson, Tom and Reston continue forward beneath those gables of gloom, and the walls buttressed with shadow, lighting more flares, penetrating this world with their halogen lamp, until finally what seemed undefinable comes forth out of the shimmering blank, implacable, but now nothing less than obvious and undeniable, as if there never could have been a question about the shape. There never could have been a moment when only the imagination succeeded in prodding those inky folds, coming up with its own sense. Something far more perverse and contorted and heavy with things much stranger and colder than even this brief shadow play performed in the irregular bird of sulfur. Mythic and inhuman, flickering, shifting, and finally dying around the men's continuous progress. Note 199. See Chapter 10 of Denise Lowry's Sketches, The Process of Entry. Fayetteville, Arkansas, University of Arkansas Press, 1996. End note. Of course, the Great Hall dwarfs even this chamber. As Holloway reported in Exploration 2, its span approaches 1 mile, making it practically impossible to illuminate. Instead, the trio slips straight through the black, carefully marking their way with ample fishing line, until the way ahead suddenly reveals an even greater darkness, pitted in the center of that immense, incomprehensible space. In one photograph of the Great Hall, we find Reston in the foreground holding a flare, the light barely licking an ashen wall rising above him into inky oblivion, while in the background Tom stands surrounded by flares which just as ineffectually confront the impenetrable wall of nothingness looming around the spiral staircase. As Chris Tyle remarks, the Great Hall feels like the inside of some preternatural hull designed to travel vast seas never before observed in this world. Note 200. Chris Tyle's Travel's Lengths in National Geographic, Volume 189, May 1996, pages 36 to 53. Since rescuing Holloway's team is the prime objective, Davidson takes very few photographs. Luckily for us, however, the beginning of the sequence relies almost entirely on these scarce but breathtaking stills, instead of the far more abundant but vastly inferior videotapes, which are used here mainly to provide sound. Eventually, when they realize Holloway and his team are nowhere near the Great Hall, the plan becomes for Reston to set up camp at the top of the stairway, while Davidson and Tom continue on below. Switching to high 8, we follow Davidson and Reston as they react to Tom's announcement. Bullshit, Davidson barks at his brother. Maybe I can't go down there. Tom stammers. What's that supposed to mean? You're just giving up on me? Fortunately, by barely touching his friend's arm, Billy Reston forces Davidson to take a good hard look at his brother. As we can see for ourselves, he is pale, out of breath, and in spite of the cold, sweating profusely. Clearly in no condition to go any further, let alone tackle the profound depths of that staircase. Davidson takes a deep breath. Sorry, Tom. I didn't mean to snap at you like that. Tom says nothing. Do you think you can stay here with Billy, or do you want to head home? You'll have to make it back on your own. I'll stay here. With Billy, Reston responds. What's that supposed to mean? The hell if you think I'm letting you go on alone. But Davidson has already started down the spiral staircase. I should sue the bastards who designed this house, Reston shouts after him. Haven't they heard of handicap ramps? The dark minutes start to slide by. Based on Holloway's descent, Davidson had estimated the stairway was an incredible 13 miles down. Less than 5 minutes later, however, Tom and Reston hear a shout. Peering over the banister, they discover Davidson with a light stick in his hand, standing at the bottom, no more than 100 feet down. Tom immediately assumes they have stumbled upon the wrong set of stairs. Further investigation by Davidson then reveals the remnants of neon trail markers left by Holloway's team. Without another word, Reston swings out of his chair and starts down the stairs. Less than 20 minutes later, he reaches the last step. Davidson knows he has no choice but to accept Reston's participation and heads back up to retrieve the wheelchair and the rest of their gear. Amazingly enough, Tom seems fine camping near the staircase. Both Davidson and Reston hope his presence will enable them to maintain radio contact for a much longer time than Holloway could, even if they both know the hound will still eventually devour their seas.
The old man was nearly as restless himself. When one of the things began to waddle and edge away, he turned quickly to stop it, so that the suddenness of his motion dislodged the waxen mask from what should have been his head. Then, because that nightmare's position barred me from the stone staircase down which we had come, I flung myself into the oily underground river that bubbled somewhere to the caves of the sea. Flung myself into that putrescent juice of Earth's inner horrors before the madness of my screams could bring down upon me all the charnel legions these pest gulfs might conceal. At the hospital, they told me I had been found half frozen in Kingsport Harbor at dawn, clinging to the drifting spar that accident sent to save me. They told me I had taken the wrong fork of the hill road the night before and fallen over the cliffs at Orange Point, a thing they deduced from prints found in the snow. There was nothing I could say, because everything was wrong. Everything was wrong, with the broad window showing a sea of roofs, of which only about 1 in 5 was ancient, and the sound of trolleys and motors in the streets below. They insisted that this was Kingsport, and I could not deny it. When I went delirious at hearing that the hospital stood near the old churchyard on Central Hill, they sent me to St. Mary's Hospital in Arkham, where I could have better care. I liked it there, where the doctors were broad-minded. and even lent me their influence in obtaining the carefully sheltered copy of Al-Hazrat's objectionable Necronomicon from the library of Miskatonic University. They said something about psychosis, and agreed I had better get any harassing obsessions off my mind. So I read again that hideous chapter, and shuddered doubly, because it was indeed not new. I had seen it before, but footprints tell what they might. And where it was I had seen it, the best forgotten. There was no one in waking hours who could remind me of it, but my dreams are filled with terror, because of phrases I dare not quote. I dare quote only one paragraph, put into such English as I can make in this awkward low lecture. The nethermost caverns, wrote the mad Arab, are not for the fathoming of eyes that see, for their marvels are strange and terrific. Cursed is the ground where dead thoughts live new and oddly bodied, and evil the mind that is held by no care. Wisely did Ibn Shakabal say that happy is the tomb where no wizard hath reigned, and happy the town at night whose wizards are all ashes. For it is of old rumor that the soul of the devil bought hastes not from his charnel play, but bats and instructs the very worm that gnaws, till out of corruption horrid life springs, and the dull scavengers of earth wax crafty to vex it, and swell monstrous to plague it. Great holes secretly are digged, where earth's pores ought to suffice, and things had learnt to walk, that ought to crawl.
сум Викторија, а ова беше првата епизода од 4-тата сезона на подкастот Демобилизација.